Okay, time now, as I said a moment ago, to take an overview of the state and to try and see how the big picture, what light the big picture sheds on what's happening in those individual seats. We've now got 56.8% of the vote counted across the state. And in two-party preferred terms, we are looking at a swing away from Labor to the Liberals of 7.8%. Now, in normal circumstances, you would say that this would put Labor in significant trouble. That would be if the swing was universal, and tonight it certainly isn't. Let's take a look at our election scoreboard, which might give us some sense of how that vote is translating. And we are saying that Labor has won 24 seats, that they've lost 3. We're saying that the Liberals have got 18 definite seats and that they've gained 4, obviously 1 at the expense of independents. We're also saying that there are still 2 seats in doubt, and incidentally we're saying that that seat lost, that extra seat that's been gained by the Liberals is Carleen Maywald's seat in Chaffey. Dean, what does the primary count show in terms of swing?
Well, the primary count is not the important one. It is a crucial one to indicate what's happening. But 38% of the votes for the Labor Party, minus 7.3%. A swing against the Labor Party. As Kerry mentioned, a uniform swing that would have produced a hung parliament. That swing has almost completely gone to the Liberal Party. There's a little bit of fluttering around in the minor parties, but not very much. It's been a clear two-party swing from Labor to Liberal, but it hasn't occurred uniformly across the whole state. It's been stronger, in fact, in the western areas, western suburbs, and weaker in some of the northeastern suburbs. Now, when we look at the chamber, what that has produced there, seats won, 24 to Labor, which isn't just a bare majority of 1. Liberal Party 18, 3 independents returned, Carleen Maywald not included in those now. And when we look at the prediction that we make for the final result, 25 to the Labor Party, 19 to Liberal and 3 to other. A Labor majority, but what it really means is that we want to wait a bit longer for a couple of those seats to ensure that that is the correct figure. So in terms of prediction, it looks as if the Labor Party will be returned, but with a reduced majority. Now, if we can turn to the changing list, Adelaide has been won by the Liberal Party. That is the surprise win of the night, I think. I didn't ever think that Adelaide would be won by Liberals with a swing of 15%. In Chaffey, perhaps you could call it another surprise. The Liberal Party has beaten Carleen Maywald in Chaffey. In Morialta, a very big swing indeed against the sitting Labor member. Liberal Party has won there. And in Norwood, Vinnie Ciccarello, who has battled off a couple of celebrity candidates, has lost the seat to the Liberals.
Now, before you go any further, well, that graphic was actually showing that although she's got a margin of 16%, this is Carleen Maywald, it showed a swing away from her of only 10%, so something's not quite right there.
We'll check that one out.
But that seat does appear to be gone.
I'll check that one out on the computer as soon as I get time, Kerry.
Good on you.
Now, if we look at the changing seats, the doubtful seats, you'll see Bright. We've just had a discussion with the sitting member, Chloe Fox. Bright is in doubt because it needs 6.6% swing to be lost. It's showing 6.6% of swing at the moment. Only 86 votes in it, so it's going to be postal votes, and very careful watching of those postal votes. In Mount Gambier, independent Rory McEwen could well be replaced by another independent, but it is very much in doubt. It's a close result. Labor preferences will decide that seat.
OK, we might... I do want to ask Kevin Foley at this stage whether you think that Mike Rann is going to be in a position at any stage tonight to claim victory.
Too early to say, Kerry. I think you and I and Rob and Dean and all of us are going to be here a lot, and Dominic are going to be here a lot longer tonight. No, we're not ready to concede. To call a win.
Well, that was a slightly Freudian slip then. I'm not suggesting that they're ready now, but the question is whether, because of the postal vote issue and because of the volatile nature of some of these swings, whether Mike Rann will be in a clear position to call at any stage tonight.
Well, my advice is now coming in from our party office is that Bright is too close to call, that will go to postals, and we've got to await the process. We are very confident in both Light and Newland, and Mawson, a very large booth that we've been hanging out on, has come in and we've done well, so we think Mawson has been retained. And Hartley, only 53% of the vote counted, 1.5% swing away from Labor, so that should be okay. If we lock those seats in the next hour or so, I think we could be in a different position. So I think he may be, but still a bit of volatility out there. But can I also say, I said before that there's no logic to these swings. That is, in a general sense, I have to say, the work done by local members in terms of holding these seats against what has been a significant swing in other seats is a tribute to the incumbency of local members.
Okay, now if you do end up losing Bright, that would give you 4 lost seats, which puts you on the edge of losing your majority. That does, so that may well mean that you're not going to know tonight.
Well, that's true, and that'll roll out over the next hour or so. I mean, we don't know where we'll be in Mitchell. My guess is that may well go to postals as well. There's nothing in it for Mike Grant or the government to be premature. If we are in any doubt, we'll sleep on it and we'll wait until we've got definitive advice on it.
Rob Lucas, have you got any further light to shed?
No, I don't think you're going to be able to tonight because Bright, I think we're being told that virtually the whole count's been done for the night and it's line ball. And I think Chloe's admitted that in her interview, and that's our information as well. Mitchell, we don't have as much information on other than what we're hearing through the ABC, the Electoral Commission computer, and that would seem to indicate that's going to go down to preferences, obviously. And the interesting thing, I think, from Chris Hanna's interview was that he was indicating he was getting as much as 50% of Green preferences. And normally when Greens direct their preferences one way, they go strongly 70, 80% and above. So he's getting a very high leakage. And he's also getting, he thinks, a 30% leakage of Family First preferences, which isn't perhaps as surprising as the 50% Greens leakage. So if he gets a 50% Greens leakage, well, then that's obviously a significant issue for him and potentially might mean he holds on to his seat. And that would then mean that the government, as you say, is teetering on the edge. And then we're looking at just some of these other seats. I mean, Mawson, yes, the last booth has made it look even more likely. But we haven't seen the total vote yet for Mawson for the night.
Kevin Foley, there's an obvious question to ask out of this, and that is that even if you do get back, even if you squeak back, and I'm not asking you whether you're going to challenge because I know what the answer would be, but what I am going to raise is that the question of succession would have to come up at some time in this term. Well, Mike Grant has been there in opposition and in government for an awfully long time.
Well, he's been a very effective leader for the last 8 years, and he's committed...
7 years, 11 months and...
Yeah. And if we do win this election, he can take great credit in terms of his ability to lead government, Labor into government in 3 terms. Mike will serve this term, absolutely clear on that, and we'll assess where we go in years to come.
I'm sorry, but that doesn't stack up in terms of political reality. Perhaps that's something you have to say, but the question of succession will inevitably come up at some stage in this next term.
Look, Kerry, no doubt people will speculate on that, and that's a matter for Mike Rann.
And your party.
And the party, obviously. But, Mike Rann has been focused on winning this election. He has the full support of me as his deputy and as of the party. If we happen to win this election for a 3rd term, Mike Rann can be satisfied in the knowledge that he's delivered it to us, and he'll have all of our support for as long as he chooses to be leader.
And you've lost a potential future leader in Jane Lomax-Smith.
Well, look, that is very sad, and that is, it is a bolt out of the blue. It wasn't picked up. Maybe the pressures of being a minister as well as being a marginal seat member. I talked earlier about some natural corrections occurring in seats. Adelaide has always been a line ball seat.